This episode, we're cracking open the leadership playbook. I'm giving you the hard data on why being the know-it-all boss is secretly killing your team's performance, and it's costing you a fortune. Then I've got 3 specific tactical moves that you can use this week to build a smarter, more loyal, and way more effective team by leading with humility. And it all starts now on Engage and Inspire. All right, leaders, coffee's hot. Phones are on Do Not Disturb, or at least they should be for the next little bit. Welcome back to Engage and Inspire. I am your host, Scott Liles. Now, if you caught our last episode, you got my full origin story. Jets, bad bosses, the whole hero's journey, minus the really cool cape. And I know what you might be thinking. Cool story, dude. But I've got 37 unread emails, a performance review in an hour, and my check engine light's on. What's in this for me right now? Fair question. So let me put all my cards on the table. I'm not a leadership philosopher living on a mountaintop somewhere, totally disengaged. I'm a practitioner. I learned this stuff where failure had very real, very loud consequences. I got the fancy degrees. I understand the science behind it all. And it's not so I can sound smart. It's because I wanted to understand the why the good stuff works and the bad stuff blew up. So now I run HELM Leadership Group, where we apply these frameworks under real corporate pressure every single day. So think of me not as a guru, but your tactical co-pilot. I've been through the turbulence, I've read the manuals, and I'm here to help you fly the plane. So we're officially opening the playbook. This is where we get into the HELM framework itself. And we're starting with the first letter, H. And I can feel the skepticism through the mic. You're thinking, H is for, hurry up, Scott. How is this going to fix my broken process? No. H is for humility. And before you let out a long sigh and think, oh great, here comes a sermon, just stick with me for 90 more seconds. I'm not talking about being meek, mild, or even a pushover. I'm talking about specific, strategic, and shockingly powerful operational humility. This is about becoming the leader who is secure enough not to have all the answers, because you've built a team smart enough to find them with you. It's the ultimate leverage. It's working smarter, not just harder. So let's get into the nitty-gritty. I want to sell you on a leadership trait that costs you nothing to implement, but pays massive dividends. And to do that, we need to bust a huge myth that leadership is about projecting infallible certainty. Now let's talk data, because as you all know, I'm a nerd for this stuff. So researchers at the University of Washington did this absolutely brilliant study, okay? They didn't ask leaders if they were humble. That's useless, because all leaders would say, yeah, I'm humble. They went straight to the source, their teams. They asked their employees to rate their boss's humility, and then they measured everything. They measured engagement, they measured collaboration, and a critical factor called knowledge sharing. The results weren't just positive. They were a blueprint for a better team. You see, teams with humble leaders reported a measurably higher level of psychological safety. Does that sound familiar? We talked about that in a previous episode. Now, psychological safety is just the academic term for it's safe to take risk here. In these environments, information didn't get stuck. It flowed. People didn't hoard good ideas or a piece of marketing intel like it was their personal ticket to a promotion or the last donut in the break room. They shared it. Why? Because they knew the team's win was their win. So, why does this matter to you today? Well, because hidden information is your single biggest operational risk. For example, a junior analyst who spots a tiny flaw in that quarterly data, well, they're too terrified to speak up because the VP already blessed the deck that's getting ready to be presented. Now, that silence can cost you a client. It can cost you a quarter, or it can cost you your sanity. A humble leader, simply by not knowing it all, systematically lowers that risk. You're not admitting weakness, you're installing a free, human-powered early warning system across your entire org chart. You're trading the illusion of control for the reality of awareness. But here's my favorite piece of data, the one that made me sit up straight. A study in the Journal of Management looked at performance under pressure, specifically in complex, ambiguous WTF situations. Sound familiar? We've all been there. They found that teams with humble leaders were about 16% more effective at navigating these gnarly problems. 16%. Now, in a world where margins are thin and competition is fierce, that's not an incremental gain. That's a decisive advantage. That's the difference between telling a customer, hey, we got it figured out, and telling them, hey, we're going to need a 6-month extension. Now, how does this work? What's the mechanism? Humble leaders are cognitive diversifiers. They operate from a powerful, liberating premise of my perspective is a single data point, not the entire spreadsheet. That's just a fancy way of saying my one brain cannot handle all of this. So they do something absolutely radical and efficient. They turn into zombies and they actively and intentionally seek out brains. They don't just hope for disagreeing opinions. They go hunting for them. They talk to the quiet person in the corner. They ask the new hire for their fresh perspective. They solicit the opinion of the department that always seems to disagree with them. Now, in a complex world, this isn't being indecisive. This is being ruthlessly intelligent. You're conducting the orchestra, and you're making sure you've got the woodwinds, the strings, and the percussions, not just a section of really loud trumpets. Now let's talk about the alternative, because the cost is absolutely staggering. A seminal study out of Stanford analyzed workplace ruled by ego and fear, the kind where the boss's mood dictated the day. Well, they found that in these environments, they imposed a, quote, performance tax of roughly 20% of the total payroll. Now, what does that mean? So let's make it brutally real for a second here. If your team's annual payroll is $1 million, you're burning $200,000 a year on absolute nonsense. Not on software, not on bonuses, not on professional development. You're spending $200,000 on CYA emails, on pre-meetings to prepare for the real meeting, on managing office politics, on stress-induced turnover, and on projects that get derailed because people were afraid to voice a concern early. It's literally a self-imposed stupidity tax. And as a leader, that should make your blood boil. That's your budget, your resources, your team's potential just poof, evaporated to feed the insatiable ego monster. Okay, deep breath. I get a little excited. That's the why. The data is compelling. The cost of inaction is absolutely terrifying. But you're a doer. You need the how. So how do you actually do this on a gross Wednesday when you're behind schedule? You don't need a personality transplant. You don't need to start your meetings with a humility haiku. You just need to run a few simple, repeatable plays. So here are 3 that you can literally implement before your next one-on-one. So play number 1, it's the I don't know power play. So we've all been there. You're leading a meeting, the pressure's on, and all of a sudden somebody asks a question that hits you in a blind spot. And then the old lizard brain instinct is to bluff, to deflect, to project your authority in the moment, and you spout out, great question, I'll circle back around. And we all know that circle never gets closed. The new strategic move is to reframe the moment entirely. So here's your script. First, it's affirming the question. Say something like, that's a great question. This disarms the tension and shows that you're listening. Second, state your gap with confidence. Say, that's a great question. I don't have the full answer for us at my fingertips. Note the language. For us, not for you. It's a team problem now. And at my fingertips implies the answer exists. We just need to locate it. And 3, delegate and elevate. Say, that's a great question. I don't have the full answer for us at my fingertips, but I know who might. Alex, you did deep work on this last quarter. Would you mind taking the lead on pulling all that together for the group and circling back to us tomorrow? Whoa, what just happened? You did not lose authority. You demonstrated secure situational awareness. You turned a potential moment of weakness into a moment of empowerment for someone else. You modeled that not knowing is simply the first step in finding out. Research from the Harvard Business Review shows this specific behavior, where leaders ask questions and delegate problem solving, actually increases team members' sense of ownership and accountability by over 40%. You're not dumping work. You're anointing an expert. Now, play 2, the credit audit. So this isn't about being a nice person, okay? It's about being a strategic cultural architect. For 1 week, become an anthropologist studying your own communication. 1, the method. At the end of every day, spend 5 to 10 minutes reviewing your sent emails, your Teams messages, or any meeting notes that you have. What's the metric you're looking for? You're going to tally every instance of I, me, and my versus we, us, the team, and most importantly, any specific team member's name. And the analysis, what's the ratio? Is it an 80-20 of I to we? If it is, your goal is to consciously flip that script and make it more of an 80-20 we versus me. The data-driven why is incredible. A study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that when leaders publicly and specifically credit individual contributors, it creates a recognition contagion. It doesn't just make that one person feel good. It signals to everyone on the team. I say that again. It signals to everyone on the team that contribution is seen, respected, and valued. This increases overall pro-social collaboration by up to 25%. You are literally programming generosity into your team's operating system. The rewrite is simple but powerful. Instead of, I'll present the strategy to the board, try saying, I'll present the strategy to the board, which is built on Maria's fantastic competitive analysis and Ben's financial modeling. What did you just do? You've just connected a high-stakes outcome directly to the specific labor that created it. That builds loyalty that no pizza party can ever buy. Now, play number 3. This is my favorite. You build a red team. Okay? Now, what this is a move that separates confident leaders from insecure ones. We're all emotionally attached to our own ideas. It's natural. But sending your untested idea into the world is a huge risk. Now, here's the formal, humble, and devastatingly effective process to de-risk it. First, the private ask. Before you commit to a course of action, go to your most incisive, critical thinker and say, hey, I need your brain for a mission-critical task. I want you to be my official red team on this plan. For the next 24 hours, I want you to dismantle it. Find every assumption, every logical flaw, every hidden risk. I need your unvarnished criticism. Poke holes in it, make it fail. You frame it as a favor to you and a service to the mission's success. Step 2, the public debrief. Have them, your team, present their findings to you in front of the core team. Now, this is a non-negotiable. The transparency is the point. Number 3, your response, which is the most important part. You listen, you take notes, and then you say something like, this is outstanding. Thank you. These points are exactly what we needed. Let's integrate every single one of them to make this plan bulletproof. Now, what did you just do here? You proved in front of everyone that the pursuit of the best possible outcome is more important than your ego. You demonstrated that smart criticism is a gift, not a threat. The trust and intellectual safety that you just built with this one act is immeasurable. You've just shown your team it's safe to think critically, not just compliantly. That's the essence of the H in HELM. Humility is the quiet confidence that allows you to harness the collective intelligence in the room. It's not about shrinking. It's about creating the space for everyone else to grow. It turns your perceived limitations into your team's greatest strength. And the ripple effects are profound. A long-term study in the Leadership and Organizational Development Journal, I think they did it over 2 years, found that the teams with humble leaders showed 33% higher levels of cohesion and social integration. They didn't just perform tasks better, they became a better, tighter, more resilient unit. They communicated more openly under stress, and they had each other's backs. Why? Because you, the leader, removed yourself as the sole source of validation. The team's focus shifts from competing for your approval to collaborating for a shared victory. So your mission this week, should you choose to accept it, is to run one of these plays. Just one. Try to execute the I don't know power play in your next tactical meeting, or conduct a ruthless credit audit on your Friday recap emails, or build a red team on a new key initiative. I'm not just throwing this over the wall, okay? I want to be a resource. I want to hear what happens. Did delegating that question unlock a superstar? Did publicly crediting a colleague change a dynamic? Shoot me a message. Find me on TikTok at engage.inspire, or send me an email at scott@leadwithhelm.com. This is a dialogue. I want to hear it. I want to know what worked. Next week, we're going to dive into E, and E is for empathy. And we're going to strip away all the fluffy therapeutic connotations and rebuild it as your most powerful tool for gathering intelligence, motivating action, and making better decisions. It's going to be good. You don't want to miss it. Until then, lead with confidence by having the confidence to admit you don't have all the answers. Your team is smarter than you think. Give them a chance to prove it. I'm Scott Liles, and thank you for listening to Engage and Inspire. And until next time, remember, keep engaging and keep inspiring. Take care.